But if this game does well, it does sort of unnerve me that future Fire Emblem crossover games might take the route and limit the roster, which is not something I want to happen. Don't say I didn't warn you, but I fucking knew it. Well, I think it's finally high time I speak about this in great detail. I'm probably going to do this unscripted, more podcasty style because I've got a lot to say and I don't think I'll be able to get all of it in through just by writing a script, and honestly, I don't think this video deserves the same kind of care and attention that I would give to something else, because honestly, I've lost kind of all my hype for this game, so I think it reflects basically my current attitude. So, on to Fire Emblem Warriors. Fire Emblem Warriors was a game I was looking forward to, well, since my buddy Blazing Knight proposed it in one of his videos, the top 5 Fire Emblem games that he wanted to get made. Now, I completely agreed with him that it would work, and I never thought about it until that point, and I really liked it. That video was uploaded a few weeks, I want to say, before I did my Tokyo Mirage video where I talked about it myself, and obviously you probably saw the clip at the beginning of the video for the starting joke, but it's just a game that ever since I heard about like what it could be, I was like, yes, that is the game that I want to happen. And then we got the Fire Emblem Direct, and Echoes got revealed, and I was super jacked about that. Heroes I was also super jacked about because we were getting a bunch of old characters like Lynn and Hector and Eliwood. Even more than that, like we got Seliph for like the first or second like DLC for that game, so like it was just really like, hey, we're talking about all of Fire Emblem here, like Fire Emblem Heroes. We're not talking like just Awakening of Fates. Like, yeah, they make up a bunch of the roster, but like we're giving a shit about like genealogy and Thracia for once, and I thought that was super cool. And then of course we got the extended gameplay demo of Fire Emblem Warriors that we got revealed at the NX show, and I was like hyped when I saw that. Like the Koei Tecmo, and then I saw the Falchion and the Orb, and I was like, fuck yeah. But, like, I wanted to wait until I saw the game in action before I made, like, any kind of video on it. And with E3 this past week, we got the Nintendo Treehouse, and we got the trailer during the Nintendo Spotlight event. And, well, a few weeks before that, we got some news from Famitsu that was concerning, to say the least. But I figure I should just spit my thoughts into my mic and really go over what I'm thinking here. So that's what this video is going to be. It's an unscripted take at my current thoughts on Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, unlike Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which was a video I already made and a game I already said I wouldn't buy, Fire Emblem Warriors interested me a lot more because I'd never played a Dynasty Warriors game and I had always wanted to. So this game finally gave me an excuse to get into that series, which I was super looking forward to. Secondly, it was Fire Emblem characters, and I thought that was awesome, as well as it was being handled by a different studio who wasn't Atlas, and I thought maybe with the success of Heroes and whatnot, they'd be more inclined to include more characters, which sadly isn't the case, but we'll get to that later. But firstly, what do I like about Fire Emblem Warriors now that I've seen it in action? Because I didn't want to jump the gun and just react to the Famitsu stuff and be like all doom and gloom and shit. Like, I wanted to give the game a fair shot. I wanted to see it in play. So, what did I think of the Trios presentation? Well, obviously, it was super cringy. The commentary, like, it was all about, like, the one girl, like, talking about, like, which was more handsome, Chrom or Xander, which we all know is Xander, but, like, really, that was the best commentary you could get. But what I did like watching the gameplay, and it looked really interesting. Xander looked super fun to play as, and when we get to something later, you'll probably realize that Xander and Camus, if he's in, are probably going to be the only characters I play as if I buy this game. And honestly, the gameplay looks fun. It looks classic Dynasty Warriors. Nothing really to say there. Like I said, I've always been intrigued by that style of gameplay, so I'm certainly going to be excited to give this one a shot. but the graphics I think really stand out. Like, this is like Awakening and Fate's cutscene level graphics in game. Like, that's just the whole game, and I'm like, that is super good. Like, that is showing the power of the Switch. Like, if this is what the Switch Fire Emblem is going to look like, hands down, this will be the best looking game in the series. Like, it will be. Like, I really like the art style that they went for. It kind of looks, it's definitely Kozaki looking, but it's not quite Kozaki. Like, the feature, like, Kozaki's art style is like a really rounded and like, it's kind of hard to explain unless you've really seen it and looked at it for a long time. Like, I have, putting several hundred hours into both Awakening and Fates. It's kind of this rounded, bubbly look to it, and the art style in Warriors, while still retaining that Kozaki look, like, it looks a bit more angular, like, yeah, like more like the Echo style in terms of the angular bits of it. And I really like the art style change a bit. The static portraits look a bit off when they level up, but that's a minor complaint because the cutscene graphics look great. As for the two main leads, the OCs, I really hate their designs. They do not look good at all. There's just way too much going on. Like, I already thought that Alphonse and Sharina's designs were way the hell out there, but these designs are just freaking gross. Like, there's this bad character and color clash. Like, I don't like their designs at all. But a lot of people also don't, so at least I'm in the majority there. So the graphics and the gameplay look great and fun as hell. So that's definitely going to be one part of this game that's going to shine. The music is also probably going to be freaking amazing. We're going to get probably remixes of stuff like Lost in Thoughts, ID Purpose, like all of those amazing Don't Speak Her Name, like those good tracks from like Awakening and Fates. Like, I hope to God that Old Battlefield, which is my favorite Awakening track, gets a remake for this game, because that is a freaking great track. I figure I should probably move on to the elephant in the room now. So, characters. Okay. Now, this is the one that probably you guys are waiting to see me freaking get my blood boiling about, and honestly, I'm just drained at this point. Because the Famitsu article came out, but then I saw the game in action, and it looked exactly like the game I wanted, so, like, I'm having really conflicting feelings here. But, now, first thing I'd like to address is the wording of the note about them only including Fates, Awakening, and Shadow Dragon characters. It says that the roster is mainly comprised of. Now, that could mean one of two things. What I hope it means is that 60% of the roster is Shadow Dragon, Awakening, and Fates, and we get maybe one or two characters from some of the more popular games like Teleus series, Elib series, and like just Ephraim. Like, just Ephraim. Like, not even any other Sacred Stones character, like just Ephraim. Like, that's my dream. That's like a really, really generous estimate. For a conservative estimate, I'd say, like, if the roster's like maybe 25 characters, we'll get maybe 4 who are from other games, and those are probably going to be Hector, Ephraim, Ike, and Alm. Yeah, probably those 4. And that's a more conservative, more realistic estimate. And then with the rest of old characters who are coming in, like probably Lynn, Erica, other characters like Micaiah, Rolf maybe, those kind of characters from more obscure sides of the franchise, those will probably come in as DLC. And that's a sad truth, but I'm gonna have to live with it. So yeah, we're most likely gonna have probably 18 to 20 Shadow Dragon, Awakening, and Fates characters, combined, of course, it's 20, and then like 3 or 4 older characters, like the more popular ones, like Ike. That's probably gonna be what the roster is gonna look like, if I'm being generous. or if they're just like just Fire Emblem Awakening, Shadow Dragon, and Fates, well, I'm gonna be super disappointed with all the other characters being DLC. I will buy this game if they say Ike will be in at launch. If Ike will be in at launch, I will buy this game. Like, that's gonna be the deal breaker for me. If Ike is in at launch. Yeah. That's gonna be the one for me. And the excuse they gave in the Famitsu article is bullshit. Like, hands down, it is the most bullshit thing I've ever heard. That they aren't including that. Okay, now, to be fair, if you look at the whole statement that they said, the whole statement is, we didn't want this game to be a parade of lords. Now, hold on to that word, lords, from across the series, because it would just be sword users. The fact that they use the word lords specifically, I think, makes it slightly less bullshit, and people are only honing in on the sword user thing. But it is still bullshit, because other lords, namely Ephraim, Hector, Micaiah, and Celica, use other weapons. I suppose you could even throw Lyn and Eliwood in there, because they get secondary weapons. Like, Eliwood can use lances and Lyn can use bows. But Hector uses axes. Ephraim uses lances. Micaiah uses magic. Celica uses magic. In fact, the only reason Celica uses swords is because Celica is actually a pre-promote in Gaiden and Echoes. She starts out as the priestess class, which gets swords and is promoted from the basic female mage class. Now, that is true, and if Ephraim and Hector aren't in at launch, then the real reason that they aren't including characters from across the series is because Chrom, Ephraim, and not Chrom, Ephraim, and Xander. Bleh. Chrom, Ryoma, and Xander on the cover will sell games. Hector, Ike, and Lyn on the cover won't sell games. That's what it comes down to. It's the popularity of the Awakening Fates and Shadow Dragon characters, and that more iconic and more recognizable status. And I'd argue that Lyn is just as iconic as Ike and Marth are, and now Corrin and Chrom as well with Awakening Fates. So I don't see why she wouldn't be included with that, but whatever. It's a thing. We all know the real reason, which is that Awakening Fates and Shadow Dragons will sell more copies than Genealogy and Thracia will. Like, that's just the hard truth of it, and we have to come to grips with that. And this whole sword user thing is to cover up what we all know is the actual truth. And then I find, because the fact is, the sword user thing was probably pulled out of their ass to, like, cover their tracks. Because up until now, the only characters they've revealed are sword users. They say that they'll be revealing more characters with more diverse weapons, and I completely trust them on that, but in all reality, we know why it's only Shadow Dragon and Awakening of Fates, and that's because they want to make money. And I suppose I can respect that, but when it comes down to it with this game, final thoughts. The gameplay looks good. The graphics look nice. I'm looking forward to hearing all the cool remixes in the soundtrack. That's all going to be total plus sides for this game. I'm sad and disappointed that they're only pulling from 1/5 of the series. We have 15 games, and they're only pulling from 3. I'm very sad about that. I think it's pretty scummy that a lot of the older characters that I would have wanted in at launch are probably going to be DLC. I really do. I think that's scummy. So, am I going to buy this game? The answer is yes, but not right away. Since this game was, it's going to be coming out in fall, so not too long a wait for those who want it at launch. But I don't have a Switch yet. I don't feel really the push to get a Switch. Like, the system sellers for the Switch for me were going to be Double Cross and Octopath Traveler, and since Monster Hunter Double Cross has been confirmed for no Western release on Switch, that's one going out, and we got no news on Octopath Traveler this E3, so I assume that it's been delayed a bunch. So I really have no need for a Switch until Christmas, I don't think. Like, that's probably going to be the earliest I'm going to get one, around Christmas and the holidays. So really, I don't feel the push for this game. If I'm going to get it at all, I'm going to get it with my Switch at Christmas, if I can find it for either on a Boxing Day sale. Boxing Day is Basically, it's a holiday we celebrate in Canada. It's just basically stores sell things for like half off. It's like Black Friday, except on December 26th. Like, I'm either going to buy it on sale or wait for a price drop, or I hope they do this, is they make like an Ultimate Edition, like they kind of did with Hyrule Warriors Legends on the 3DS, where they have an Ultimate Edition with all the DLC already included, so I can play as Lynn and Erica and whatnot, and like all those characters who would have come in as DLC, I can play them straight out of the box with no paywall. Like, that's going to be the way I'm going to play this game. I'm either going to buy an Ultimate Edition or wait for a price drop so that I can get the DLC effectively cheaper. Also, if the DLC is reasonably priced, is going to make or break this game. Like, if the DLC is like $3 and I get 2 new characters from X game and then a bunch of new weapons and items, like, I'm going to think that's a frickin' screaming deal. But if it's like $10 for that much, then we're going to have a problem. Like, really, the DLC pricing is going to make or break whether I wait for an Ultimate Edition or not. Either way, those are my thoughts on Fire Emblem Warriors. Do agree with me, disagree with me. I have been ZerkMonsterHunter 4. Let me know what you've thought in the comments. And as always, happy hunting.